start again. It's a redskin.
Alright, so I got these headlights online. They were the only ones that I found that were LED, of course, and also had the connection in the back where I could just plug it in like that, and I could kind of tuck it away. I've been looking all over the place to see on these wiring diagrams to see which is the high beam and which is the low beam, but on I don't see any wiring for the headlights. So I've kind of just, I don't know, I trying to figure out which wires go to what, and I kind of crudely hooked up the switch panel and the PDM. And basically, when instead of having the headlights on the steering column, I'm going to use the accessory on the switch panel to turn on the headlights on the low beams only. I'm not going to have high beams, which is fine. I really don't need them. I don't imagine doing a lot of driving at night. So, but I kind of hooked them up crudely. Just see what happens, I guess. I got you on a tripod here, and we'll put it down. Alright, let's see what happens. I wish I had a fire extinguisher because it's kind of scary. Let's see. I heard something. Hey, they're on. Holy chew. They're actually on. Now here's something like a fan or something going on. It must be in the head bulbs, the light bulbs, because there's like a heat sink in the back. But this, all right, let's get out of the way here. Let's see. This is the first sign of life in this car in 10 years. The headlights actually work. This is crazy, dude. I mean, dang. I'm gonna turn it off that way I don't kill the battery right away. But you can see the lights on. And it turns off. Let's see. Let's see. Turned off. Yeah. Wow. This is just, you know, a year and a half ago, I would have not have thought that this car would be where it's at now. Kind of a little emotional. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Well, at least I know the headlights work. I have to figure out now that I know the headlights work. Next thing on the list is the fan. But I can't actually, I mean, I could hook it up because I have the line running already, but it won't turn on until that thermal switch reaches a certain temperature. So yeah, I can't even check that. One thing I do want to check is I gotta hook up the rear harness that goes to the fuel pump and the taillights and all that stuff, because of course I ordered I found out who makes these small it says right on there, these small little relay boxes with the fuses in them, and I ordered 3 of them, and I want to make like a fuse box with the relays for the turn signals, because of course I need to run lines for the well, I already have the lines run, but I got to figure out how to connect them. And I was looking at videos on YouTube on how to make your own relay board for turn signals, and it's not that hard. When it comes to relays, for some reason my mind just can't grasp why they work, but or how to even connect them. But after looking at a couple of videos, I found that it's not that hard to do. So next is wiring, running the chassis harness. Also have to figure. I did hook up or make a line for the ground, so it connects up to there. I did another riv nut. I love those things, by the way, but I used a riv nut. I was going to go ahead and connect it to one of these bolts that's already there, but they had so much Raptor liner on them that I figured I just might as well just drill another hole and take off the metal or the paint behind it, and then, you know, have a clean connection. And it looks like it works because the headlight actually works. Well, I'm going to keep on wiring up today and see how far I get. And hopefully by the end of, let's see, today's October the 3rd. And I'm hoping that by the end of October that I can have its first start. And things are looking a little bit promising if I have all the wiring correct. And the one reason I did want to hook up the fuel pump is because there was fuel sitting in this car for 10 years. And I'm kind of debating on whether just to order new injectors, because they might have gotten plugged up. Another thing is I have to connect the fuel pump to purge the lines, just in case there's bits of plastic and dust and crap inside there. So at first start, I don't completely plug up the system. I want to disconnect the line right there and run fuel through the entire system up to this point. That way it kind of flushes out all the lines, because like if you remember, all the lines are new, but you have to kind of use a grinder to cut through the fuel lines, and a lot of that dust created goes into the lines. And I learned that from some of these other lines I did. I actually had run some water through them, and a bunch of the dust from cutting these lines came out. Alright, so last night after I got the headlights working, I went ahead and plugged in the fuel pump wiring, and then hooked up the ground that was on there. Found out which one was the actual power going to the fuel pump, and the other one was, I believe, the for the fuel gauge sensor. So I actually hooked it up to the power, onto the PDM and to the switch panel that's in there. I went and got some high octane and put it in here. I mean, what I'm going to end up doing is kind of flushing out those lines like I said I was going to do. Put in about 4 or 5 gallons, and hopefully it can reach the pump. And then I got to disconnect this line up here. Oh, that guy put it in a bucket of some sort, and then hook that power back on so I can flush out that system. I really wish that I could, and I probably might still can, disconnect it right here, because all the junk that's in the line underneath the car is going to reach up to this point first, go through the fuel filter. I mean, the fuel filter is supposed to catch all that stuff, but I don't, you know, I mean, first off, I don't want it to catch it right away. I just want to, you know, put a little bit of fuel through there, flush out those lines, connect it back, run it through the rest of these lines. First off, number one, to see if any of these connections are leaking on the bottom or in here. Alright, so I have that line disconnected and I have the fuel pump hooked up. Let's see what the heck happens here. Heard something going on. Yeah, there's some fuel in there. Alright, so I think I'll click it on one more time and let it flow through a little bit more. Alright, let's check all of the lines, the connections, make sure everything's good. Don't see any dripping. No leaks here. So I guess that's a good thing, huh? Alright. Now I will hook up this line back up to the fuel filter and then run it through there. Let's see. Alright, that one's disconnected. Let's see what happens now. So I'll go through there. I don't see any leaking. I had tightened up those fittings right there on the regulator because they seemed like they were a little loose, but I don't see any fuel leaking anywhere, so all my lines look good, I guess. Let's see what this fuel looks like. Oh yeah, see all that stuff in there? That's all of the junk from cutting the fuel lines. So all that stuff would have ended up in your injectors if the fuel filter didn't catch them. So that was what I really wanted to do. Well, at least I know the fuel pump works. I'm actually going to go ahead and take off the engine harness and start kind of rewiring stuff, making it look a little nicer. Because the first time I did it, it was late at night and I was losing daylight, so kind of like the injector plugs look kind of funky and stuff like that. So, but yeah, fuel system looks like it's working good. I didn't see any leaks underneath, and it's primed, ready to go. All I need to do is wait for it's like a waiting game, you know, all the time. Gotta wait for the wiring to come in. Gotta wait for the cable wire loom to come in. So it's like trying, hopefully, like I say, I'm making, you know, little by little, and it's basically that's what it is with a car like this, is you just kind of a little bit at a time work on things, and eventually it all kind of just adds up until you're done. Like I say, the fuel pump or fuel system, the lines are done. I know I can use the fuel or the switch panel to engage all of that and the headlights. Now I can start figuring out what I need to do with the turn signals, because like I say, I got to make some sort of a. I did find this. I was looking through my storage unit, and I found this. It's a flasher relay, works with LED, incandescent bulbs, or a mixture of both. So let's see if I can make that work. I'm gonna look online again and see if I can get up some wiring diagrams or schematics on how to wire up that relay. I was looking at the wiring diagrams for the stoplights, and that is basically just a hot wire hooked up to the switch on the brake pedal. There's a little switch underneath the pedal. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. See that little switch there with the white plug on the back? You run a hot wire through that. Hot basically means it's a wire running from a positive charge from the battery, and that runs to your stoplights. You know, every time that pedal is pushed all the way, you know, you're not pressing on it, it's basically interrupting the signal. When you press the brake, then it pushes the switch, which makes the connection and turns on the bulbs. So that's easy enough. I don't even think I need. Well, I might hook it up anyways, a relay to that, but we'll see about that, if I can just get away with just running a hot wire to that with a fuse or something like that. So yeah, little by little we'll get it going. So overall, I would say it's been a very productive day. It was a really nice day actually outside. It wasn't windy, wasn't too hot. So I got a lot of work done actually. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's kind of little detail things. I finished buttoning up the tying down the fuel lines underneath with I put some little more of those clamps, and I put some more riv nuts with a stainless steel bolt holding them. I put 3 of these on the underside, holding both lines, return and the feed, and then in between each line has one of these I think 3 or 4 of these separators like these. So that's done. I also put the clamps on the far end on the filler tube. That's done. Rerouted all of the wiring for the harness, and actually connected everything correctly this time. I just have to. There's a couple of things that I got to change. Well, not change, but tie into, like this. Right here actually goes hooked up to a line inside the cabin on the PDM with the switch panel, and I traced the line to the end so I know which one it is, so I can hook it up to that one. I also hooked up the O2 sensor, tightened up the fuel lines, and well, actually did bleed them out, so I got all that junk out of there. I found that the lines that I need for this guy right here and this one right there are 3/8 ID, or inner diameter, going up to the idle air control valve, and took this guy off because it's easier to reach this one without that connected. So I took it off until I can connect these two up to the idle air control valve, and then I'll hook it back up. And then of course I put the fender back on. I touched up all the little scrapes and chips, and I've missed a couple of them. I missed one here, and I saw another one somewhere else, but I just basically got some of the paint and then just used a brush and kind of dabbed it on there and touched up all the little dings that I put on there, so that makes it look a lot nicer. And made sure the fans actually worked. I hooked them up to the switch panel, jumped the thermal switch, and they both turned on, so those are good to go. And I buttoned up these lines back here coming from the fuel pump, so those are all hidden except for right there. They're all tied down though. Run in through here, coming out to there. So all I have to do now is run the turn signals, brake lights in the back. But I think I'm going to wait until I get those, what did I order? 8 gauge? Yeah, 8 gauge wire for the power, running to the PDM and everything else. So I think I'm going to wait until then because I got to sleeve it as well. I would say I'm on the road to getting the first start on this car, probably end of October. If everything goes right. Like I say, I don't really need the catch can and stuff like that as of yet, just for primarily to start it, make sure it's running good. Before I do start it though, I'm going to double check everything, make sure all the marks are lined up, that I'm not off as far as ignition timing goes. Make sure all the plugs are good, make sure, just double check everything. And then see if it starts. All right, give this video a thumbs up if you guys like it. Again, thanks to Brady Pemper for the cowl at Soul Creations. He's the only guy so far that's supported the vehicle as far as sponsoring, and makes good stuff. He's actually coming out with some new stuff actually, and if I didn't already make my panel to mount my battery and my ECU, he just came out with a really nice one with the dimple dies. If you guys are building a car or have a car that you want something that's a little different, look him up. And Soul Creations 365. And thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you another couple of weeks, maybe, hopefully.